Welcome back to the Berg Podcast. Thanks for joining us, folks. Man, I'm going to mess it up before we even start. But welcome back regardless. With me today is Ford.
Hey, how's it going?
And Dan.
Hey, everybody.
And we're talking about some post-holiday stuff. So anyone else get the sense that like the holiday season, it sort of lasts forever, right? Like between Christmas and New Year's, it feels like you're done, but there's still one more like holiday season event coming up, right? So
Well, and then for us, I don't know about you guys. For us, we have Christmas and then New Year's, but we like to ski, and we don't ski often, but we do go skiing. So we always have a ski trip. So for me, like there's one more extension. Like and the ski trip is a present. That's Erin's mom. That's what she buys Erin and the girls and I.
oh, nice.
She pays for a ski trip, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So there's like one more thing. It's not only is it a Christmas present, but it's another thing we know is coming.
So you just keep it going so you get back to the warm weather. It's like I got to keep like this out in front of me a little bit further, a little bit further.
There's got to be like another event, a next thing, right? You
Charlotte
just
asked me that
push through
the other day. I don't know what triggered it, but it was like the first day it was cold, and she was like, "Do you think it'll be summer soon?" I was like, "No, Charlotte. It's not winter yet.
Not even close. No. Yeah.
We're on the front end of it, not the back end of it. I mean, it's interesting because like we were talking one day about like living in the South, and like my wife's like, "Oh no, I'd had to come back up north because I want the cold and like for the Christmas." So she's like, I just couldn't see palm trees with like lights on them. And I was like, but if you actually think about it, winter doesn't really start usually until January. Like there's been times we've had some snowstorms in November and December. December's here almost over, but it usually doesn't really start until January. So it's like I don't know how many holidays have actually been as festive as they show them on like the Hallmark Channel.
Right. Not a lot. Well, at least not here, right? I'm sure there are some areas they get the Christmas snow and stuff, but here we generally don't.
Yeah. Post Christmas here, one of the things that's funny you said about stretching it out is growing up, my mom was very specific about when you could open stuff. Like you weren't touching a stocking until, I don't know, second week of January.
No.
Like it wasn't, you could just look at it. You could open some presents. She was very, she
Wait,
stretched
did
it
you like is that a Christmas thing for you guys? Like like I know my brother and I when we were little, we used to always like sneak down, and that would be we'd kind of go through our stockings.
Oh no, I like growing up in an Italian family. Like you might not have survived if you had touched those presents.
He still has his fingers, so he's okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have slapped.
I mean, I legitimately remember she would have to put music on and then be videoing it, with the big camera.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if the music didn't line up right, she'd tell you to go back up the stairs again.
When my kids were little, they would get so angry. They would be like, I'd be like, yeah, hang on, we're just getting ready, and I'd be like brewing a pot of coffee.
Yeah.
Be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Erin's the complete opposite. She just tears through, and the girls are that way. The girls like, you better be down ahead of them because they're going to tear everything down, open everything.
Whether or not it's theirs.
Yeah,
just,
immediately.
Just rip through it.
They're just ripping through.
But no, I mean, with the new year, New Year's Eve is an interesting one because
Yeah.
it definitely felt more valuable or festive to me as a younger person because it was kind of a night to go out maybe more with your friends. It wasn't quite as much of a family get together. It was more of a, your group of friends and maybe go out somewhere, see some fireworks and stuff. And now, all these gray hairs, I'm kind of more like, hey, can they like run those fireworks like as soon as it turns dark? So that way we can still, be in bed before midnight type thing, but it's definitely a different setup.
You can watch it now, right?
Like 9 p.m. You can watch like the Australian one or something crazy.
Live stream somebody else's, and
they do that in the
it's
city.
done. So,
If you went back down to the city like you used to, the city runs them at 8:00 and midnight. That way, kids can see them.
Oh, do they? You get like two versions?
Yeah, they do on the river, like
Okay.
on riverfront. You can go, have an early dinner and then
Have an early
New
Year's
Year.
Eve. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
didn't
New
know
Year's
that.
Eve was you're right though. It is like it's like not a kid's but like a young person's holiday.
Yeah.
Is it Ed Parrott that his birthday is New Year's Eve? I think it's Ed.
I couldn't say. Is that right?
I'm trying to picture though Ed like totally just having a raging birthday party when he's like 22. Ford, can you try and picture this? Ed still in coal country,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just ripping it up on New Year's Eve on his birthday. Do you think that happened?
I'm glad he's probably would say it's good there wasn't cameras back then.
All right.
Yeah.
That might be a question I need to ask Ed next time I see him. What did like a 22 to 28-year-old Ed party look like on his birthday?
Right. Yeah. How did
So guys, if you're out
New
there
Year's Eve, yeah.
and you're listening and you see Ed down at Longwood, just ask Ed. See what you can get me some information. Get me some data on that.
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, part of the new year, getting through a year, getting started again, and one of the things with the new year that you guys can probably describe better than us, but we were able to make an adjustment in one of the things that we can offer team members.
Yeah.
And try and help them out with one of the things that we felt as a pressure point for people, and we think we might be able to create a solution for that.
Yeah. So, one of the things that's interesting for me about the holidays is it is a lot of reflection, right? Even in the last couple of episodes here, as we've been talking about the holiday season, Christmas, what we do over the holidays, you sort of reflect a lot about family and parents and times you spent with other people. But I think that one of the things that we've talked about here as a group, probably for the last, 6 months or so, and it's been triggered by different things. Some of it was, Ford, you having kids, some of our teammates having their first kids and stuff like that. But one of the things that we recognized as a team was how challenging that period of time is for young families. They're having their first kid, maybe they're having their second kid, and trying to balance all that, right? And Dan, I know you and I reflected on this, and we talked about like when our first, even when my third was born, and same for you, there wasn't like a way to necessarily just remove yourself from whatever was happening, work, life, otherwise, and just go do new parent for even a few days, right? I remember when Gavin was born, my oldest, we got away. I think I was home for 3 days, and it was like, okay, now I got to go back to work, and
good luck, Mom.
You gotta survive, right? You got to deal with this, and so we did talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about it, and it's the one that's interesting for me, just because time of year is Charlotte. So I remember with Charlotte, it was 2000. Charlotte was born in 2014, so that was the 13-14. That's Merck, and I remember coming back, and we had worked a lot of hours, and it was the polar vortex. It was freezing. I mean, it was really cold, and we're going to the hospital. We're gonna have the baby. Erin's gonna have. We're not we. I didn't have to do anything. I just showed up. Erin's gonna have the baby, and we're walking into like the delivery section, and she said to me, "Hey, can I see your phone?" And she had talked to me about the phone already, but she said, "Can I see your phone?" And I handed her my phone, and she handed it to the nurse and said, "Don't give that phone back to him until the baby's delivered." And I looked at her like, "There's a snowstorm, like it's freezing. Ford's been working for like 36 hours. Everybody's out. Like I need that phone." And she said, "If you touch that phone before I deliver a baby, I'm going to kill Ford myself."
Now, and since I'm here, we got past that.
Yeah, so, but I mean, it's one of those things. Like and Erin, that was our second child. Like it's a stressful time. I mean, I always say, I said it the other day with Ford. I said, if men had babies, they'd have one, and I don't mean we'd all have one. I mean, one of us would have one.
And
We'd warn the others, and then there'd be no more babies.
No more babies.
So, but it was one of those things that that's just the way it was. Like I had to be at work. You know what I mean? And then I went right back to work. I think I stayed home with Charlotte one day, the day she did, until she got out of the hospital. When she went home that next day, I went right back to work again. And I really only saw them for maybe 4 days, Erin says, in the first month Charlotte was alive. But Brian and I were talking about it, and it was just like, does it have to be this way? Like, can we do anything? Can we do better? Can we do better and really sort of, Ford had said something in one of the videos that I saw, and it said, about words are cheap. You know what I mean? Like it's cheap to just say things or put it on a board, but to really live it is hard. It's not easy, and it's not cheap. And I think that that's a discussion we had internally, and we just said this is somewhere we really think we could impact people's lives for the better because it's the right thing to do. And I mean, it really is that simple what we decided to do.
Right. Yeah. So it's always hard when you do these things because you as much as we'd like to be utilitarian and impact as many people as possible, everybody, sometimes you just doing something is better than doing nothing, right? Even if it doesn't impact everybody. So we're going to roll out. You guys just heard about it the other day at the Christmas party, but we're rolling out a parental leave policy, and I think it's not monumental, and it's not like it's unheard of, but in an industry like ours where you're expected to, be available every day because of the demands, our own demands, the demands of our clients, the demands of GCs, et cetera. It was a big decision for us, but we think that if we want our people to be first, then we got to put their needs first. And that's a situation where the demands that are placed on them and their family and their spouses, their significant others, have to be put first, and they're more important than what we have going on in the field. So, yeah, so we're rolling out the parental leave policy. It's designed, like you heard the other day, to give people the time off when they need it. So, and this was Ford's idea. What I love about this idea is that you don't necessarily have to take all the time at once. You can sort of spread it out. You can take some time off to go to prenatal visits. You can take some time off to go to post birth doctor's visits, etc. And be available to help, be available to sort of balance those needs.
Right, because I just went through it, and the interesting thing is that if we put it into a particular group or whatever, maybe that's a time when some other family member's there to help, and so maybe it's a little bit down the road. I know we have some guardrails on it. It's not for infinity and beyond, but there is a little bit more space and a little bit more flexibility in order to allow to make it as useful to you, and also to try and make it in a way that your team around you can step up if they know that you're going to be out for those times. So, all the fine print, unfortunately, we're not going to air here because that is a detail, but that's kind of the reality.
Right. Yeah. And if you check the
Portal
bag from the holiday party, it has some information in there. And if you need more information, obviously don't hesitate to reach out to Tracy or myself. But
yeah, and Brian, one of the things too with it is it's always easier, I think, for you and I when we're trying to talk about something and do something for the team that doesn't benefit us in any way. Like, in other words, that sounds crazy because it's easier to like advocate for yourself. But in your and I responsibilities, it's really not. It's really much easier for me to advocate for something that's good for the team and say, I think this is good for the team. And you do a really good job of that. And Brian and I sort of came to this, and we had talked to Ford about it, and we it was funny. It doesn't happen often, but I feel like we walked in ready to talk to Ford about this. Like, we had our ducks in a row. We were like, we're going to talk to Ford, and Ford's going to see.
We got our business plan
right. We had our
planned out.
business plan, we walked in, and we were like, okay, we'd like to talk about this parental leave thing we're talking about. And Ford went beyond where we were thinking he would go with some ideas, like you said, of opening up the guardrails of what companies normally do. And it was so refreshing because it was like all of us, it didn't benefit any of us. You know what I mean? It benefits all of us because the team is better, and it's a better package, and it respects what we want to respect, family. You know what I mean? Which is the most core thing at Berg is family. But it was really refreshing to just all be on the same page on something that, like if, in a silly example, if we said like, hey, there's some golf outing that, we're going to, for a client, and it's a nonprofit that we like, it's, Ford anchored, we want to support them, but Brian, Ford, and Dan get to play golf. Like, well, that's, that's not, we like,
a little self-serving.
Yeah.
Right?
You don't have to like pat me on the back. Like, all we really did was pay, and support somebody we like, but we got to play golf.
Right.
You know what I mean? And in this, I think it was putting us in maybe our best light of when we really are just trying to advocate for the team and say, this could be better, even though our industry doesn't treat it that way. You know what I mean? Our industry just treats it like, it's become sexist, but guys go to work. Like, you know what I mean? Just go to work.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and I think, to not put a spin on it, but also the reality is that we've had some experiences over the past 18 to 24 months that has brought the situation more to light than maybe it wouldn't have been in the past. And so, that also helps kind of guide the decisions, because we've seen, some team members that have had some scheduling challenges with their time off and different things. And so it allowed us to actually see, hey, there is a way that the company can provide assistance during that time. And it just was a natural fit then once we kind of looked through it that way.
Yeah. What's interesting for me is, as we went through this policy, I did sort of think, like, if we were all in our 50s or, late 50s, early 60s, or we were closer to retirement, I don't know that we would have had the same perspective necessarily. We would have said, like, well, 30 years ago when we had our kids, this is just what you did. So people just need to do it, right? But even though, like you mentioned, Dan, it doesn't necessarily impact any of us individually, because we're, you and I believe we're both done having children.
I'm done.
Yeah. And Ford, you just recently experienced having children, but I don't know where. I think you guys are also done having children. I could be wrong. I don't want to speak.
That's what Mama told me. So
Yeah, okay.
Smart people told me that when your wife say you're done having kids,
That's when you're done.
That's when
Yeah.
you're done. Vice versa, if you say you're done,
Not so much.
not
Yeah.
so much.
But I think we're closely connected, at least, is what I was trying to get to, and can easily relate to this need, which is why I think it was so impactful or meaningful to us when we started having this conversation.
well, I mean, we don't need to get into the whole, but I just laugh. I was watching an older movie, and literally the movie was Mama was at the hospital, Dad was at the bar, and they got a phone call at the bar and said, "Hey, you had a baby boy." Like, I mean, that was
Right.
an old movie, but like just how the transition of time is, and also people, moving and they may not be close to family. There's like so many things that have changed in time that reflects a different reality than maybe people had experienced. I mean, you guys are only 10, 15, 20 years ago, and it was a different reality then than it is now. And so
Right. Yeah.
trying to look at the current situation and how, those things have adjusted, and we can't just be stuck in this is the way it's always been done. We have to look at it and see if there's new things that we can do to try and help when we can.
You know what's great about that too? Is that's like another one of those core values. You know what I mean? Like not just in this particular thing, right? But it's like solve problems. You know what I mean? Like find a solution. Don't Ford
Mhm.
always says, don't come to me with a problem. Like come to me with the solution and say, this is what I think we should do. And it might not be the right solution, but it's not I don't know what to do. It's a solution. You know what I
Well,
mean?
right.
And that's really how Ford approached it and how we try to approach this. I think is say like, what can we do? You know what I mean? And as we come into a new year here, like I feel like it's big for us to say like this is us, continuing to grow as a company and develop and say like we don't need to be like everybody else. We don't need to just do this because this is what you do.
Yeah.
This is a better way, we think.
Yeah, and I mean, our hope is to create an environment where we are an employer of choice. Our people want to be here, but at the end of the day, I think it's also important to us that we just treat people like human beings. So
Yeah. So we hope that for the people that, this impacts the most, we really hope that they use it to its fullest and helps them with their new family as things happen, at different times and throughout the years upcoming.
yeah,
Now I will say this, Bri.
Mhm.
Just because we have parental leave does not inherently mean you're ready to have kids. Because if we want to just talk for a second about kids, you know what I mean? I mean, Ford thought that one kid wouldn't wake up the other kid. When I talked to him, remember, it was not long after Gabriella was born, and I was like, how things going? And he sounded real rough.
oh yeah,
And I was like, and he said, as soon as one cries, they wake the other one up. And I was like, well, yeah, that's how that goes. They just wake all each other up. It's not good, and it's one of those things. It's when we talk about kids, it's the funniest things. We had a gathering this weekend. I was together with some friends, and you talk about kids and like we all did the same thing, like, and it really like that's something that's not different in a movie. You know what I mean? Like kids have always been the same. You know what I mean? It's always it's a struggle. You know what I mean? Having kids is nobody gives you a handbook. They
No,
don't give
yeah.
you a manual and say here's what you're supposed to do.
The amount of like self help that's available on this topic, and all of it's garbage.
Yeah, and none of it's any help.
No, none of it is. I mean, like every child is their own different situation and scenario, and
Well, I think that might be worse now because now you can just Google everything and there's like
Mhm.
142 million responses, and you can figure out, you can go anywhere from left field to right field about something, and you're like, I was just asking, like what temperature should the milk be at, not like all these answers. But
Yeah.
it's very accessible now. Whether it's useful information is a different
Yeah,
story.
right.
Yeah, and I mean that's true. I think it's actually worse because you can find like it used to be like there was Doctor somebody, Doctor Stark,
Yeah.
Doctor something, and it was like a book, like computers.
It
for
was the
idiots.
book.
It was the book, and everybody it didn't mean it was the right thing. You know what I mean?
Right, but it was the only answer.
But it was the only answer. You just do what's in that book, or
Yeah.
or go off the card, Audible, and do what you want to do, and maybe it'll work out. But now there's like answers in every direction, and everything seems normal, right? Like that's what we've done in the
Yeah,
world is
right.
we've
Mhm.
normalized everything by just showing everything and making you feel like as long as you look at that specific thing, that's normal. But I do want to just caution all of our ladies and gentlemen out there. You know what I mean? Just because you're only getting 6 days, you know what I mean? If look up, do a quick search on what it costs to have kids. just make sure you're doing it for the right reason. Don't do it to
You're
get
right, yeah.
get a few days off. That's I'd rather you just come to Fort O'Brien and I say I might need a couple days off.
All right. Well, that's a good place to wrap it up. So something new coming out of the Bird team here, but we wish you well in your extended holiday season. Happy New Year's, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.